Going on YouTube? It's Chris the Mechanic Guy coming back to you guys. I know I haven't made a video in several months, and please forgive me to my subscribers. I know I told you guys that I'm gonna do tool reviews, I'm gonna do all kinds of stuff, toolbox tours and everything like that, which I am. It's just that I've been transitioning to a different location, to a new job. I've been currently working there. I'm actually not owning my own business anymore. Basically family issues happened and I gave that business back to my uncle. So what I'm doing right now is actually working for an independent shop. He's a guy that lives actually nearby my house, and I've been working there and I've been learning a ton of stuff. Like I said back previous my old videos, that I've been doing bread and butter work at the job that I was working at, that I own my own business. But now he's been teaching me so much more, because I was basically only what they call a Tech B going to Tech A, not a Master Tech yet. So I was just doing basic front end suspension work, a parts hanger basically. I never did diagnostics or anything like that major. So this guy that owns this shop that I work at currently is a master tech. Obviously he owns his own shop. He's been in the business for 20 years, maybe even more. And he's teaching me basically everything he knows, and that's all I've been doing right now, is basically just killing it with diagnostics. Well, trying to kill it with diagnostics. I'm still getting paid flat rate like any other shop, but I'm basically guaranteed 40 hours a week, which is awesome. I did work at Pep Boys afterwards of Firm Tires, which was my business. That's the first job I got afterwards. I worked there for about 6 months afterwards, my Firm Tires, like I said. I didn't dislike it, but I was just a number at that shop. Like it's a corporate business. I loved my boss, I loved the people that I worked with, but I wasn't getting to my hours. They were treating me like a Tech B, basically just trying to throw me parts, as in brake, suspension work. You can't really learn at that job because they're about the money. That's what they're about. There's not really, and the master techs that are there, don't get me wrong, they were awesome, but they need to eat too. They're hungry, they don't want to teach you too much, because then you're stealing their money, and that's not what it's about, like that at that location. Which I was like, oh, I'm not really gonna learn too much at this location. I was there for 6 months, but that's when I decided, I was like, listen, I'm either gonna give up working in the automotive industry, or I'm gonna try to find an independent shop guy and see and learn from there. Basically, so that's when I found my shop that I'm at now. It's called PDK Automotive, and it's amazing, man. I've been there now for almost a month. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. I think the only time that I'm gonna leave is when I get enough money to really own my own shop and get the experience that I need to really be successful in the automotive industry and own my own business. But it's awesome, man. Like I said, I did my own. I've been learning a lot. I've never changed the motor before this job. I never changed the motor. I never changed the transmission. Never did timing chains. Never did timing belts. I never did major engine work. All I did, like I said, was a parts hanger. I basically did bread and butter work, exhaust work, brake work, front end suspension work, a little bit of engine work, as in just valve covers, starters, alternators, simple stuff like that. But since I started, and guys, when you go into an interview, make sure you let these guys know. Don't lie to them. Because a lot of people tend to do that in this industry. You get kids my age, I'm only 24, but maybe even younger than me, that go in these interviews and like, yeah, I tore engines down before, I did heads, I did everything in the engine, valve, bent valves, pistons, everything like that. And then they get this, the boss, like, oh man, this guy really knows what he's talking about, let's hire him on. Then the boss gives him a simple job just to test him out, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and that makes you look like a fool, because then you're basically like, you're in this job now that you just got hired on, and you lied to him, and now you guys are in an awkward position because it's just awkward now because now you lied to him and he's like, oh man, do I really need this guy now because he doesn't really know what he's doing. But that's besides the point. I told this guy straight up, the shop that I'm at now, PDK Automotive, I told my boss straight up, like, hey, listen, I don't know any diagnostics. I know some simple diagnostics. Obviously, cylinder heads or cylinder codes, PO30 or PO305432. That's obviously spark plugs. I mean, sometimes coils or something like that. I told him I know simple codes. I don't know really how to do diag yet. That's what I'm really struggling at. I know how to diag for a suspension and all that. That's simple, but I never done transmission work, never done engine swaps, never done any of that. And he was like, I understand that. I appreciate that you telling me this, but he was like, I'm gonna give you 1 day to test out, and then I'll go from there. And I was still working at Pet Boys at this time when I was having an interview. But he tested me for 1 day. And basically, he seen how I worked. He gave me a little bit of stuff. He didn't want to give me too much because it was 1 day, but he gave me just basically some suspension work the first day and some brake work and then alignment, whatever. And then he was like, listen, I already see that you know how to do some stuff and whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, but he told me that there's a lot of people that do that. Like, they just come in and they lie and they say they know stuff and they really don't. So then after that, he said basically you can start whenever you want. I was like, listen, I want to give my 2 weeks into Pet Boys. I want to leave in a good note, whatever. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. I only gave him a week because, like I said, I wasn't getting my hours at Pet Boys. Because they had 3 master techs there, and these master techs were, I mean, unbelievable. They know what the hell they're doing, and they're getting all the money. Then they had me as a tech B, and they had 2 other GSTs, which a GST is just a general installer, oil change, and tire person. So first of all, one of the GSTs was a part-timer, and the other one, she was a full-time GST. So like I said, the master techs there, they had all the work. I mean, they were pushing like 50 to 60 hours. And then the older master tech that's been there for 30 years, he was pushing about 40 hours. And so I was rolling for 2 weeks. I was getting only like 20 hours at tops. And I was like, dude, I'm not getting paid because it's flat rate. I mean, you're not making any money there. I mean, I wasn't making any money there. They are, but I wasn't. So they kept handing me GST work. And in that shop, you don't get paid for GST work. For oil change, you'll probably get $3. For for 4 tires, which takes you an hour, you'll get like $10 or so. And if they keep handing you that, you're not making no money in that business. So I was getting frustrated. I was telling them, I was letting my boss know, but he had no control over it. So that's when I switched over to PDK Automotive. And like I said, now I'm actually I love my job now. I mean, I swapped out an engine 2 days ago on a Chevy Cruze. It was a 2016. This dude, I guess, bought it from a dealership, and he knew that he couldn't pay on the bill and they were going to take it back. So I guess he ran it like just straight destroyed the piston. I mean the what is it, the piston sleeve or whatever that it sits on, the actual piston ring, I guess got just melted. The piston melted, and that sleeve fell down into the camshaft or the cam rod, and it locked up the engine. And so I swapped out that motor and put a new motor. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not lying to you guys, I never did a motor swap. I never thought I would be able to until, I mean, wow. And I told him too before I did. I was like, listen, I'm kind of nervous. I never did this before. He was like, man, if you need anything, just let me know. So I did it, and everything, I put it back together. I mean, it ran smoothly. I did everything. I was happy. I was excited because I thought maybe it won't even start. I was like, oh man, this is not gonna start. Ran smoothly. So then after I ran it, I turned the ignition on, whatever. The AC started working, everything. I put stickers on it, inspected. I put stickers on it, and I shut it off, and then I turned it back on, and the AC stopped working. And I'm like, oh man, what's going on? I checked to see if there was any leaks because I did take out one line out of the AC to take out the engine. Seeing if there was leaks coming from there. Well, there's no leaks. The AC was fully charged. I'm like, oh man, there's something going on. Checked if there was power to the compressor, and there was power going to the compressor, but it wasn't kicking on. So I was wondering if they had a bad compressor, but I was like, it was working before, but now it's not working. So to take out the engine, you have to take out the wiring harness as well. And there was a wiring harness connected into under the fuse box that you had to take off. And that fuse box has a relay, that wiring harness that goes under the fuse box. On that little section, it has a relay connected for the compressor. And I guess I didn't tighten up that nut that hits that wiring harness to make it like fully connected. And simple stuff like that, man. It chased me for a little bit, chased me about for an hour or two. But in that hour or two, when you're flat rate, that's a lot of money. I mean, especially depending on what you get hourly or flat rate, your flat rate. So, but it did chase me. I found out that situation, but that was the only thing that was wrong with it. So, like I said, I was excited. I mean, that built my confidence up big time because I'm like, oh man, I could really do this. I could swap engines out. Then I did a transmission job on a Honda Accord. First time ever doing a transmission job by myself. Did that job, and I'm telling you, these jobs are like 10 hours or so. And well, that engine swap was 10.5, and I did it in probably like 8 hours, which isn't bad for a person that never swapped out an engine. I mean, I want to get to that point that I can only do it in like 6 hours or so, but I did it in 8 hours or so, and that's still good to me. I mean, to me, I'm happy about that. And then the transmission job called for about, what was that? 9 hours, I believe, and I did it in 7 hours for the Honda, which wasn't too bad. That transmission is actually easy because the torque converter bolts are like, there's a little panel that you just loosen up, and the torque converter bolts are right there. And the belt housing bolts are so simple to get to, so that's actually really simple. Then I did that, and this is like 2 weeks into the job. I'm doing these big jobs, and I'm like, holy crap, like I'm learning a lot. Then after that, I did a clutch job on a Camaro, an older Camaro. I never did a clutch job before. Pull down the tranny, but those are simple because it's the tranny that's facing long ways. Belt housing bolts, simple to get to. That's only like a 5-hour job or so, a 6-hour job. And then I've been doing a lot of diagnostic work. He's been teaching me diagnostic work, and ever since that I started diag, I've been noticing a pattern. When you go, if you're a mechanic like me that's just an average Joe Tech B guy that's still learning diag, when you go into learning diag, don't think ahead of yourself. Think of the simple stuff. And I've been doing that lately. I've been just going crazy in my head. Like say for instance, if I'm trying to think of a regular code. Trying to think, guys. Basically, I mean, just say for instance for that AC, that's not really a diag, but it's still trying to find why the AC is not working. See, I was going crazy thinking like, sorry about that, guys. My dogs are going crazy over here. I was thinking crazy, thinking like, oh, it's a wiring harness issue or something, thinking like out of the like box, but not thinking simple. So I should have went to the first place. Like, listen, you know there's a fuse there or a relay there in that same wiring harness that you took out, and it's not working now. Like, I should have went that, but instead, me going crazy, like still learning diag, not having the experience yet, I went straight to the compressor thinking like, oh, there has to be something wrong with the compressor because it can't be what I did, you know. And that's a bad mentality thinking, because with diag is something real simple. I mean, it's the most simple thing in the world. And this happened to me the other day. This lady came in for an inspection, her whole third brake light, all the 5 lights weren't working. So I'm thinking automatically, oh, it has to be assembly, a third brake light assembly. There's no way that all 5 lights are not working. And so I take my power probe. I put the ground. I put the cable back into the third brake light. I seen that there was power and ground, so I try to shoot power into the light, and it wasn't working. So I'm like, oh, it has to be a light because there's no way. Instead of thinking simple, I'm already pushing parts to this car. That's what I'm doing. I'm basically throwing parts to it, saying, yeah, it's assembly. There's no way it's the 5 bulbs. So my boss came up to me. He was like, "You sure it's not the 5 bulbs?" And I'm like, "There's no way that it can't be. It could be 5 bulbs that are bad." So best believe took out all the bulbs. They were blown, and we put 5 bulbs in the start. It worked. The assembly worked perfectly. So that's what I'm saying, guys. When you're learning diagnostics, there's money in diag, but you gotta just think simple before you go crazy. And like I said, there's money in diag because there is. Once you get the experience and you learn, that hour, you could find a job. Like, say, for instance, I mean, maybe you don't know what a PO302 is. You look it up, whatever, find out that is a coil. You just got paid an hour just for looking that code up and finding and doing a little test on your coils or your spark plug or whatever it is. Might be a valve cover oil leaking into the cylinder. And it's something that simple, and you just got to pay an hour for a 5-minute check. So there's definitely money in diags, but trust me, you're gonna have that one job that basically it takes you 2 hours, 3 hours, and you're like, damn, like this sucks, it's beating you. But then those jobs, when you do find them, when you do, like that Chevy Cruze, when you do find one, you're gonna remember it. You're gonna always remember that, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is usually common. I had a job, or a Honda Odyssey, no start. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. I never did this before, but I started reading up into Honda Odysseys, and I found out I was doing the simple stuff. I was saying, all right, it has spark. It's cranking over. It has spark. Does it have fuel? So I checked the fuel rail, seen that fuel came out. I'm like, all right, it has fuel. So what is going on? Cranked it over, whatever, wasn't cranking over, and I'm thinking automatically like, oh man, maybe this fuel pump is bad. But then I read into it and I found out that the main relay on a Honda Odyssey, they tend to go bad a lot. Like it's really common for these. And so ended up checking the main relay, and I was actually getting help doing this. This is like I said, my first diag. I actually did this diag at Pep Boys, and one of the master techs were helping me with this. And he was like, yeah, there was a main relay that usually goes bad on that. Take your power probe and check to see if that main relay is bad. Check the main relay, send power to the cable, the positive cable into the fuel pump, turn the car, start it right up, found out that the main relay was bad, something simple like that. Instead of throwing parts at it saying that it's a fuel pump, it was just a relay. But that, I was just ranting, guys. I do, like I said, I'm working at an independent shop right now, PDK Automotive. So I'm gonna do more videos, guys, I promise you. I told my boss that I'm gonna start doing videos at the job. I'm gonna try to get like a little GoPro and do hands-on stuff for you guys, and I want to talk about business and everything like that. And definitely tool reviews. I mean, I'm a tool guy. I love tools. And I got this new guy on this route. His name is Norm. He's actually one of those independent tool guys. He's not a Snap-on, Mac or anything like that. He buys Gear Wrench. He buys Monster, which is I guess a brand from Cornwell. Cornwell sells them, and he has a whole bunch of different brands. But I usually buy from him now because he's way more lenient with his prices. So definitely tool reviews coming, toolbox tour coming, work as in just me working on cars is coming, and I'm gonna do talks like this as well with you guys. So if you could please like and subscribe, guys, I'll appreciate it. To my 20 subscribers that are still still subscribed to me, I can't believe. I appreciate it, guys, so much. Send me a comment. Tell me how you guys are doing. I know there was a couple guys that commented before, saying that he has his own shop and stuff like that. Just comment, let me know how it's going, guys. And this is gonna be the road to getting my own shop, guys. I'm only 24. By the time I'm 30, I want to have my own shop. So like I said, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.